On the news tonight, President Tinubu woos investors for economic growth and development of Nigeria. NYSC Batch B Stream 2 orientation course kicks off in Ilorin. Kwara State government urges vigilance amidst military operations against kidnappers. Plus update from the world of entertainment and sport. This is the Nigerian Television Authority NTA Ilorin News Tonight. Good evening and welcome. I am Mutiat Olushola. Now the news in details. President Bola Tinubu has continued his drive to woo investors, particularly Nigerians in the diaspora, to come home and invest for the growth of the country's economy. President Tinubu received two Nigerian global investment leaders, Chief Executive Officer, Global Infrastructure Partners, Bayo Ogunlesi, and Chairman, Metis Capital Partners, Hakim Bello Osage, who is also a senior lecturer at Harvard Business School, at his Lagos residence, with discussions centered on upstream and gas as well as large-scale infrastructure investment. The president reaffirmed Nigerians' readiness to partner with leading global investors for sustainable growth and prosperity as part of his renewed hope agenda. The investors, who were led to the meeting by the chairman of the National Revenue Service, Zach Adedeji, spoke to State House correspondent afterwards and indicated interest of investment, innovation and port sectors.
But look, Nigeria is now a place that is exciting to invest in, and that's what we talked to Mr. President about. And of course, as you would expect, he was very encouraging of international investments in Nigeria.
Okay, I'm not expecting you to tell me how that you told the president, but what sector particularly are you interested in?
Yeah, but you think about all the sectors that we invest in. Energy. So we invest in energy. We're building LNG plants in Texas. We're building LNG plants in Australia. There's gas in Nigeria. Nigeria is a huge gas province. People describe me as the guy who bought Gatwick Airport. I didn't personally buy Gatwick Airport, but the aviation sector is also an area of interest to us. I confess to Mr. President that one of our companies has ports in Cotonou, and it has a port in Lomé, none in Nigeria. So I asked for his forgiveness and understanding, and being the gentleman that he was, he forgave me, but said, you have to bring port investment to Nigeria. So that's another area we're looking at. Renewables, that's another area. So lots of investment opportunities in Nigeria. You just have to be serious about making the right moves.
I think when Nigerians in Nigeria and when Nigerians in the diaspora invest in Nigeria, it can only be a great signal for the international community to invest in us and make our country greater.
They commended the president's reforms, which they say have positioned Nigeria for economic growth.
Think about it. Removal of subsidy, tax reform. We have a refinery that's operating and exporting aviation fuel, unification of the road ownership system. And so the next step is, how do we encourage international investment in Nigeria to drive economic growth?
We thank President Tinubu for his policies. They have made Nigeria investable. We wish him all the very best, and we give every assurance to the president and every assurance to the Nigerian people that we will do our very best, and it will create a fast-growing Nigeria which will achieve its objectives.
Our president has done fundamental reform, and that reform on its own invited all these people that you are saying. We've done the fundamental. The next thing for us is to lead export-led economy, and they have committed. Mr. President has given them go ahead, and the only thing I can say is the hope is very on rise.
Our Federal High Court in Abuja has dismissed a suit instituted against President Bola Tinubu challenging the March 18, 2025 proclamation of state of emergency in Rivers State. The presiding judge, Justice James Omotosho, gave the order in a matter filed by Belema, Briggs and 4 others in Abuja. Justice Omotosho held that the 5 plaintiffs lacked the legal power to institute the case as they suffered no legal wrong in the matter. The court held that such case as constituted can only be determined by the Supreme Court. The court held that none of the 5 plaintiffs claimed to be members of the State Executive Council, members of the House of Assembly, or suffered any injury greater than the rest of people of the Rivers State. Was still, the court held that none of the plaintiffs claimed to have the fiat of the Attorney General of the state to initiate the case. Besides, Justice Omotosho said that the claim of President Tinubu that he imposed state of emergency to avoid looming breakdown of law and order was not challenged or disputed by the plaintiffs. He held that the claim of breach of fundamental rights by the plaintiffs by President Tinubu did not hold water because the appropriate law on emergency rule order was invoked by the president to save unpleasant situation. Justice Omotosho ruled that the case was frivolous and baseless because the mandate of other people of Rivers State was not obtained before instituting it on their behalf. Away from that story, INEC Chairman Professor Mahmoud Yakubu has appealed to the National Assembly to expedite action on the amendment of the 2022 Electoral Act to enable the Commission come up with guidelines for the 2027 general elections. He made the appeal while receiving a delegation of the European Union Election Observation Mission at the Commission's headquarters in Abuja.
The Commission has carefully considered all the 8 recommendations specifically addressed to us in your report. Action has been taken on aspects of the recommendations that only require administrative action to implement. Similarly, action is being taken on cross-cutting recommendations that require collective action between INEC and other bodies and stakeholders, while waiting for the conclusion of the ongoing legal review by the National Assembly on the recommendations that require legislative intervention.
What we are here to do is to look at the recommendations that flowed from the overall mission that were contained in the final report of the mission back in 2023. And we are very happy to see that there has been very significant progress against these recommendations. We recognize that there are certain time constraints, both in terms of judicial reform as well as administrative reform and, of course, constitutional reform, which is.
He emphasized that out of the 38 recommendations made by the EU in the 2023 general elections, 8 were within the jurisdiction of the INEC and they have been implemented, while 30 need legislative consideration. Core members posted to Kwara State for the 2025 Batch B Stream 2 NYSC orientation course have been sworn in at the temporary orientation camp within the premises of Kwara State Polytechnic Ilorin. The Chief Judge of Kwara State represented administered the oath of allegiance on the new core members. Ahmad Fulani completes the report.
In which I work.
Those were the 1,300 core members of Batch B Stream 2 posted to Kwara State taking the oath of allegiance. The Kwara State Chief Judge represented explained the importance of the oath to the core members, asking them to put in their best to the state and Nigeria at large as required by both the NYSC and Nigeria's constitutions. State Coordinator of the National Youth Service Corps, Olaoluwa Onifade, who appreciated the state government for providing a temporary orientation camp due to insecurity in parts of the state, said the scheme had lived up to its purpose for which it was established. His charge to the new set of core members is to serve the country wholeheartedly and shun all forms of negativity during and after this service year.
Thank God for making it possible for us to host a 2025 Batch B Stream 2 orientation course. His Excellency has actually said everything. He has expressed the mind of the state concerning core members. So as the core member go out for the national service to serve their fatherland, I pray that God be with them, God guide them accordingly. And I know at the end of days, they will make success of their service here.
Kwara State Governor, represented by the Commissioner for Youth Development in Danusa, Shehu Usman, welcomed the young Nigerians to the state of harmony as he assured them of safety while in the state. He enjoined the new core members to contribute meaningfully to Kwara State in their various capacities and be safety conscious wherever they are posted to.
The responsibility therefore rests on you
to be physically, mentally, and socially prepared for the rigors of nation building. You must demonstrate the quality of good citizenship, patriotism, and discipline through the various trainings you will undergo during this 3-week orientation program.
It brings together young people, men and female from diverse society. They all come together to serve with patriotism and also dedication to their country. So it is with this I also advise them to be patriotic, to be dedicated, and to be committed to the cause, to the reason why they are here.
The commissioner also used the occasion to hand over another set of bed bunks to the state coordinator of NYSC as part of the state government's additional support to the scheme. Ahmed Fulani, NTA News.
Tourism is more than sightseeing. It is a driver of economic growth and social progress. Against the background of the 2025 World Tourism Day marked recently with the theme Tourism and Sustainable Transformation, experts are calling for attention to how Kwara State can unlock the full potentials of this vital sector for economic prosperity. Abdul Mumin Abdul Wakil has the report.
Tourism is one of the fastest growing industries globally, generating billions of dollars and millions of jobs each year. For Nigerians, experts said, sector holds the key to reducing dependency on oil revenue while unlocking opportunities for youth, women and local communities. In Ilorin, Kwara State, attractions like the Emir's Palace, Owu Waterfall, Sobi Hill and the Dada Pottery are more than cultural symbols. They are also potential revenue generation. Analysts believe that with the right investment, this site could attract both local and international tourists, stimulating small businesses, creating jobs in hospitality, transport and entertainment, as well as boosting the state revenue.
Apart from oil, I guess today tourism is the next largest employer of labor. So if you can develop the industry, it has the potential to employ people. It has potential to generate foreign exchange. But then, there is a lot of task for the government. For tourism to grow and be sustainable, one of those questions that we must answer is, do we have the capacity? Do we have the infrastructure? Do we have the enabling environment? Thank God for the current governor. He's trying his possible best. He's doing all he can. But then, there is still much to be desired.
God has so much blessed Nigeria that we have several things that we can showcase to the world. And government must look into this aspect very well, especially the upcoming generation. They know little to nothing about their cultural values. But if we can expose them to our cultural values, it's going to be a serious thing that will help them.
The blend of history, natural beauty and creativity represent untapped wealth that, if harnessed, could transform livelihoods and contribute significantly to the Nigeria's GDP. Abdul Mumin Abdul Wakil, NTA News.
Kwara State government has urged residents of the state, especially those living around Ekiti, Ifelodun, Isi, Okero, and Irekpodun local government areas to be vigilant and restrict outdoor activities as security forces escalate attacks on kidnappers' hideout. The advisory, according to a statement signed by the State Commissioner for Communications, Bolanle Olukoju, followed heightened operations by combined security forces in border towns in Kogi and Kwara, where kidnappers are believed to have hibernated. People of the affected areas were encouraged to restrict their movement to only very necessary routines in order to avoid being caught unaware as the kidnappers flee from their hideout. She said the government regrets the temporary inconveniences the limited movement may cause in the nearby areas. While commending the security forces for the renewed effort to rout out the criminals, the state government charged them to continue until bandits were totally neutralized and flushed out of Kwara forest. The Director General National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies, NILDS, Professor Abubakar Olariwaju Sulaiman, has urged Nigerians to believe in Nigeria as the nation marks landmark 65 years of independence. Professor Sulaiman, in a statement signed by his media advisor Mohammed Abdulkadri, made the remarks in his felicitation statement for the 65th independence anniversary of Africa's most populous black nation. While congratulating the leadership of the nation at all levels and indeed all Nigerians for the historically momentous occasion, he harped on the need for greater participation of citizens to build on the gains of nationhood from 1960 to date. The erstwhile Minister of National Planning who noted that the country might not be where it ought to be in terms of development, said certainly the indivisibility, sovereignty, unity, in diversity, demographic assets and unbroken chains in democratic consolidation are sources of strength in the trajectory of nationhood. He therefore urged Nigerians to align with the visionary leadership of President Bola Ahmed Renew's hope agenda to end poverty, hunger, and insecurity in some parts of the country. In our entertainment news, popular Nigerian musician Kudus Fakoya Oluwadamilare, popularly known as Q Dot, has broken his silence after being robbed at gunpoint, which left him traumatized. Titilayo Oyetunde has details of this and more from the world of entertainment.
Q Dot, who broke his silence after being robbed at gunpoint, said the experience left him traumatized and deeply shaken as the robbers took everything he had with him. He shared his experience in a series of posts on his Instagram story, saying it was the most terrifying experience of his life. Q Dot was grateful to God for sparing his life, adding that he was surrounded by love and support as he began the long journey to healing from the incident. In another story, actress and entrepreneur Temi Otedola has finally responded to criticism about why she left her father's name and started bearing her husband's name after marriage.
Muslims have been admonished to live a pious life and strengthen the bond of kinship so as to receive the mercy and blessings of Allah in this world and the hereafter. The National Mission of Ansar Islam Society of Nigeria, Sheikh Abdul Mumin Ayara, gave the admonition at the Fidal for Alhaja Rehanat Abike Ajetumobi, held in Ilorin, the Kwara State capital. Correspondent has a detail. That death is a price every mortal must pay is a firm belief of the Muslim faithful, but the death of loved ones usually leaves a vacuum too difficult to fill among close relatives and friends. This aptly captured the mood at the Fidal for late Alhaja Rehanat Abike Ajetumobi, the Yadini Agbarigiduma Mosque Ilorin, as family, friends and sympathizers converge to pay her their last respect. Several verses of the Quran and other supplications were offered to seek Allah's mercy and blessings for the repose of the soul of the deceased. In his lecture at the Fidal, Sheikh Abdul Mumin Ayara described late Alhaja Ajetumobi as a virtuous woman who dedicated a lifetime to the worship of Allah and enjoyed Muslims to put forth good deeds before returning to their Creator.
My message to all Muslims is that Ulkhulu fi silmi kafa. You must enter into Islam in totality. Whenever you are tested by Almighty Allah, that one should not derail you from being loyal to Almighty Allah, because He's the first, the middle, and the last.
Family and friends described late Rehanat as a pious woman who was kind to everyone. They eulogized her sterling virtues with a promise to sustain her legacies.
I'm going to miss her a lot. She's my prayer warrior. When I know anywhere she is, she will be very, very happy. Allah
was merciful to Mama and she lived a pious and good life. She related well with the entire family, relatives and everyone who came in contact with her. All praises to Allah for a well-spent life by Mama.
Over 100.
She is a very prayerful woman and we will all miss her. She had a very good life and we are happy for her. She enjoyed this life.
There's no one who could actually say this is Mama's shortcoming. Of course, there's no perfect human being. Do you understand? You agree with me on that, but we can actually say Mama is 95% perfect. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive our shortcomings.
She was a devoted Muslim. She cared for all and sundry, both at Ajetumabi and Okubi and Agwari Gidoma. She was known to be thoroughly devoted to God and shared it with people.
They prayed Allah to forgive the deceased shortcomings and admit her into special place in Al-Jannatul Firdaus. Al-Hajja Rehanat Abike Ajetumobi died on Sunday, September 28, 2025, at the age of 98. And with the weather forecast, we'll be wrapping up the news tonight from the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA Ilorin. News tonight, I am Mutiato Lushola. Happy Independence once again to everyone. Do have to yourself a restful night. Good night.
For more news and programs, you can visit our website on www.ntailorin.com.ng. Download the NTA Ilorin app from Google Play Store on your Android devices. You can also watch our news on NTA Ilorin YouTube channel.